Hello, my crafty friends. I did a video about a recipe for some do-it-yourself Mod Podge, and I got a question. Janet says that she uses Mod Podge because it allows her to do certain things. One of those things is use a pip pen and smudge and things like that. I don't have a pip pen. I don't use that. But I told her that I would compare Mod Podge to this, doing some of the things that I do, and then maybe that would help her decide if this is something she's interested in or not. And I decided I did have a little bit of Mod Podge, and so I decided I'm going to do one with that and one with this, rather than just trying to do those things on here. I'm going to do a direct kind of comparison. I think it will be, maybe it'll help Janet know whether this is something she's interested in or not if we do that. I'm going to use the same things on each page. I've got the same paper, the same kind of music paper, the same napkin, and pictures out of the same book. And I'm just going to do a quick little bit of a play. I've picked a couple colors of paint because she said one of the things she could do is just wipe the paint off. So I want to try that. I'm also going to use, if I can find it here, my Stabilo pencil. I'm going to have to sharpen it before we get to that point. But anyway, and some charcoal and different things like that. And we're just going to see what happens. I did stir this, and I hope I stirred it good enough. One of the comments I got was that you have to stir it every time you use it, or that polyurethane stuff will just drop to the bottom. It looks stirred up. I hope it really is. But that is something to consider. When I've done it before, I've always left a lot of room in the bottle so I can shake it really good every time I use it. And this time I filled the bottle up too full because I had too much glue and I didn't want to waste it. So doing it and leaving yourself some room to shake it up real good was probably a good idea. Okay, we're going to start with this because I just mixed it up, and hopefully I mixed it good enough to give a real comparison. And the first thing I'm going to do, let's move these over here for now. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the Mod Podge in a minute, but is I'm going to put this on top of this. And I think I want to use this part. So I'm going to put my Mod Podge stuff over here. And then I'm going to just lay it down on the paper, and then I'll go over the top of it when I do the other things. Make sure I get enough glue on here. After I get this on there, then I'll trim it. Okay, let's just lay this on top of here. I think it'll be easier. Ooh, I didn't quite get enough. Okay, now then I'm going to get my card. Obviously didn't go out far enough on the sides there either. I don't usually do a whole sheet like this, so all right. Okay, and I need to let that dry before I turn it over. I wasn't thinking about that, so I may end up having to stir this again as we go through the steps. But and I did take my brush out of the water before I use this, so it'll be hopefully the same amount of water left in the brush, because that's exactly how I always do it. So, all right, now we're going to move these things out of the way, and we're going to do the Mod Podge on the music paper over here too. Okay, my Mod Podge is thinner than my other stuff, so I don't know if that will affect things or not. It may mean I need to add more. This that I made yesterday is thicker than what I usually do when I just do glue and water. So I didn't put as much water in it. I probably will go back and add more water when there's room to do that. Right now the bottle's too full for me to go back and add water, but okay. Alrighty. Okay, now then, I want to do something real quick here. I think I'll remember, but anyway, we'll do Mod Podge here and DIY over here. That way I won't forget. I'm going to let these dry, then we'll come back and trim off the edges and start working on the front. Okay. This isn't really dry, but I think it's dry enough to work with, so I'm just going to tear off around around here. So that we can get the size of our paper back. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and lay down the rest of the stuff all at once, and then we'll let that dry before we start doing anything else on it. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and stir this up a little bit. It doesn't look any different, so I don't know how to tell if I've stirred it enough or not. But I'm tired of stirring, so we're going to call it enough. Because that's probably about how much I would do if I was just doing it for me. So. Okay. And on this one, we're going to use these two pieces. Start with that because it keeps wanting to blow away. Okay. All right. All right, let's see if we can get that over just a little bit. No, I don't usually try to go, make a precise edge. All right, we're just going to let it be what it is. Precise or not. All right, put a little bit more on top. All right, and now we're going to put this picture down here. And I'm going to go ahead and just go over the whole thing because I want the whole thing to be covered in Mod Podge. So, Mod Podge. This is the DIY stuff. But you know what I mean. Either get too much or not enough. And this time I think I probably got a little bit too much. Okay. We'll definitely have enough here to, I'm going to put this kind of in this corner. Okay. Now then, we're just going to let that sit and dry. I'm going to rinse out my brush. And I'm just going to shake the Mod Podge. Hope there's enough in here to do this whole thing. I wasn't thinking about the fact that it was only part of a bottle and all of that. But anyway. Okay. And my intended to put the napkin over here, but I tore it the wrong way, so it's going to have to go over here. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I intended to, I tore it to go over here, but I really want it over here, so I'm going to go lengthwise instead of depthwise, if that makes any sense. Okay. Add a little bit more here. Okay, now I'm going to put some of this all over the page, and then I'm going to put that rest of that picture down. I used pictures from the same book because I wanted the paper to be the same, and I wanted to make as much of it the same as we could, so that the only thing that was different was the glue. It's the only way I know to test something and be real about it. So okay, let's add a little bit more on top here. All right, now we're going to let both of those dry, and then we will come back and play on them a little bit. I can keep them from sticking to my underpaper. Should have put down some wax paper or something, but I didn't. Be right back. Okay, they're pretty dry. They're not really, I mean, I didn't wait 2 days or anything, or even 24 hours, or even 2 hours. I just waited till they were dry to the touch. One thing, well, there's two things I noticed right off the bat. This one is a little glossier than this one, but not much. They're almost the same glossiness, and this is the matte Mod Podge. So, there's that. Also, this is very smooth. There are no brush marks, and this is the DIY. There are no brush marks, but in this one, I don't know if you can see them, but there are definitely brush marks. Now, that may speak to this being having more of a thicker finish in it than this, that it didn't smooth out as much. I don't know. I don't know if that, is a property of the Mod Podge that's good. I know I don't really like the look of it, but I don't know if that's something that will make the Mod Podge better because it's got whatever it is that keeps it from smoothing out. But there are no brush marks on this one, and I like that, just from a standpoint of how it looks and feels to my hand. This one is smoother. This one's a little stickier, and it's I don't know, it's just not as smooth. This one feels thicker. It wasn't thicker when I put it on, but it does feel thicker. I don't know how to explain that. Just a difference in the way they feel. Okay. Now, I do want to put some paint on it because that was one of the things that Janet asked about. And I decided, I was thinking about using blue for sky, and then I decided I'm just going to add more flowers because that way I can do the same thing to both of them. And I didn't want to put blue here, and I don't know. I just decided to add more flowers down here and more flowers down here. So I've got some pink paint and some green paint. I've also got these distress markers. I haven't ever tried to use distress markers over something like this, but I thought we'd try it while we're here. I've got a Stabilo pencil. I couldn't find my charcoal, but I do have a graphite pencil also. And then I've got a Sharpie, and I've got a food ball. Those are all things that I use. Well, these are all things I use on top of this kind of thing. But like I said, I've never tried these, and I don't typically do paint last, except once in a while in an abandoned book. So anyway, we're going to play with some of that. I need to, let me get some paint out. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's kind of get some stuff out of the way. I do want to get out a baby wipe so that I can wipe these off if I need to. And I'm just going to start with this one because it's right here. I probably need two brushes, one for the leaves and one for the flowers, but I do want to see how the markers work. This is not exactly a matching green, is it? Okay, sorry, I just got a weird message. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute. All right, we're going to try again. I've never gotten that message before. It said frames are being dropped. You may not have enough resources devoted to Logitech, which is weird. I only had my email open other than this, and um, well, we'll just have to see how it comes out. I'm going to go on over here and do some leaves. Well, there's a time for, and that paint does, it just wipes right off. Well, let's just try it over here because I didn't try to wipe, well, I waited too long on that one. But let's see what it does if I just paint it on there. Let's go up here and do one. And then wipe it off like I did on the other one. Okay, it will wipe off. It doesn't feel the same. When I wipe it off on here, it kind of drags and it wipes off pretty slick over there. So, okay. Oh, there's a little bit. That waited too long. Okay. So you have the same problem on the Mod Podge that I did on the this one. If you wait too long, it's not gonna come off for you. So it's good to know that both of them will do that if you wait too long. So okay. I think I am going to go ahead and put one more up here. Alrighty, let's put some flowers in. Drying off my brush a little bit. It's got this one little bunch of hairs that just want to stick out. That's driving me nuts. So I'm just going to cut them off. I don't know what else to do. All right, that'll be better. Okay. Now let's draw some flower petals. And I have a lot of paint still wet there, so I'm going to wait on finishing that one for a minute. Let's go ahead and draw and paint another one here. All right, I'll let those dry and we'll work over here. Ooh, that's not dry yet either. Okay, let's just work around it for now. This isn't like a major piece that I'm just wanting to experiment. So we'll change up what those flowers look like. Okay. I'm going to change this one too. Okay. There's that. Just wondering about maybe, I don't know, see if we can maybe add some highlights to this flower. Let's do one of those over here. Okay. I'm really not finding a whole lot of differences as far as how paint works. It was a little easier to clean the paint off of this than off of this. Just the way it feels when you do it, it just felt slicker to wipe it off than wiping it off of the DIY stuff. Um, so there's that to think about. Okay, let's go ahead and do some with the Stabilo, because that's something I really do use more than the paint aspect of it. So okay, I'm going to do this side with Stabilo, and then this side over here with the graphite. Okay. All right, let's dampen my finger a little bit with the baby wipe. I'm not as big a fan of the graphite smudge as I typically am the Stabilo, but let's just do it like this. Okay. You can definitely wipe off that Stabilo off of the DIY stuff. So let's try it with this one. Um, I'm going to do the Stabilo here. And we'll do the graphite down this way. Okay. And it wipes off here too, so I think it actually it wipes off a lot easier on the Mod Podge. Although I can still go back and wipe it off here. But the pencil, I couldn't get it to do much. I don't know if I wiped it all off with it just went away. There we go. We just barely dampen it. The pencil will work. Okay. So far, I'm thinking you can use them both the same. It just feels a little different to your finger, and you probably have to get used to what each one does because the Mod Podge is actually a little slicker to work off of. But this does clean off if you want it to. Now let's try some Sharpie, because I sometimes doodle with Sharpie. And the Sharpie is working fine on the DIY Mod Podge, better than it is on the paint. Oh, there it goes. Okay. It wasn't working on the paint. That does eventually stop working on the paint. That's just unfortunately normal for this. But if I want to outline up here, let's see how that does. Where it's just outlining on the Mod Podge, DIY Mod Podge, and not on the actual acrylic paint. Except for the wrinkles in my napkin, it's working pretty well. Which means the Sharpie works on this really well. You'll always have trouble with it, a little bit messing up your Sharpie on acrylic paint. Now, come on. Okay, now let's play with it up here on a flower. And my Sharpie works fine on there. I would say it's pretty much the same. I had a little trouble with the paint, but I have trouble with the paint. That's just a paint thing, not a Mod Podge versus this. Let's try the food ball pen. Forgotten how much I like this pen. The one thing about it though is you can't go over it. It's because it will come off if you go over it with water. Now I don't know if I had done this, first and then put the Mod Podge and stuff on it. I'm assuming those would affect it just like other things do. Let's go around the flower with this. Let's try it over here. That's definitely more fun on the flowers than the Sharpie is. It's got a darker, a thicker line. But once again, we can use it the same. So I don't think there's really a whole lot of differences. I think it's just what you prefer. Yeah, I don't think it really matters. I do think the smudging thing is probably a little more effective on the Mod Podge. Um, it's a little messier on here. Now I did, of course, make that messy on purpose. Ooh, see, there you go. That food ball just comes right off with the wipe. Um, but you can wipe it back. I want to see what it looks like if I really wipe it back a lot. Am I going to mess up the finish? That's the thing I'm worried about. I think the way I use it, this works just fine. I don't know about the way other people use it. Well, I'm down to the paper now, and that's something that I don't know if it'll work, if it'll do that on the Mod Podge. Let me just rub it a while and see. I think that I had to do it quite a while to get to that point though there. So let's just do a little while and see. I think the Mod Podge finish is more durable. Because I did eventually wipe it all off of here. And I don't think of course I haven't done it a long time, but it is wiping away a little bit, but not as easily as this. So I would say the Mod Podge finish is more durable. If you're going to be doing a lot of rubbing around on it, you might not like it. It is stickier. The Mod Podge is stickier, and it does leave the brush marks that this one doesn't. So I think it just depends on what you're doing with it, how you're going to feel about it. I like the non-stickiness of it, and I like the brush marks being gone, and it glues things down really well. So I think it depends on, what you got in mind. I think you're going to have to just play with it and see. Thanks. Sorry I wasn't definitive. Bye-bye.